just rolled in.
Legalize comedy.
Comedy has been made illegal again. Republicans and the FCC, FCC chairman, the leader of the Federal Communications, that's the official pronunciation. Republicans, Brendan Carr, is that his name? I'm pretty sure that's his name.
Bye-bye.
No, don't say bye-bye to him yet. Yeah, Carr. Brendan, who is involved with the Heritage Foundation in the 2025 project, in the year of our Lord 2025, whatever it's called. Brendan Carr on a podcast today. God, I used to think it was awesome that everyone had a podcast. I'm starting to rethink that. But the FCC leader, who is a far-right non-believer in free speech, went and threatened Disney, ABC, and they pulled Jimmy Kimmel. So comedy has been made illegal again. Free speech as of tonight no longer exists in America. You know, last week the president and all the Republicans were threatening that if you didn't mourn one of their propaganda, their podcast, the minister of podcast propaganda, if you didn't mourn him correctly, that they would cancel you. And that's what's happening. It's weird. I hope a lot of people are picking up on how heavy this is. That, you know, their words are one thing. When they tell you, we are the free speech party. We're going to make comedy legal again.
Legalize comedy.
Legalize comedy. Remember when that South African illegal immigrant known as Elomo? Hey, from Swansea. Hey. Where's Swansea? I'm not exactly sure. Is Swansea a North Shore? That's a South Shore. That's got to be a South Shore. Where's Swansea? Let's figure this out. Let's take a time out. Swansea. The sea that was filled with swans. Wait a minute. That sounds like a Massachusetts town in Massachusetts. Yeah, I thought so. Oh, yeah, that's way South Shore, right? Is that way South Shore? Bristol County? Of course it's South Shore. Wait a minute. Oh, over by Fall River. Well, hello. Say hello to the Fall Rivierans. KT Liz, good to see you. Sprack Water. Is that a new kind of water? Good to see everybody. Sad news for those who like free speech, those who like comedy, and those who, value the American values.
Legalize comedy.
Comedy has been made illegal. If you haven't heard, we're going to go over the news. Jimmy Kimmel pulled off the air indefinitely after Donald Trump's FCC chair, the guy who leads the FCC, who is a far-right Heritage Foundation, which is a far-right think tank. These are people that want to suppress the working class, suppress any dissent, and just enrich their rich buddies. You know, no money is enough for them. They call themselves free speech absolutionists or abolishers. Maybe he didn't mean absolutist when they say we're free speech absolutists. Maybe they meant free speech abolitionists. They want to abolish free speech. But South Park was supposed to air a new episode tonight. Not happening anymore. And if you could guess why, the creators, Matt and Trey, they made a statement on Twitter. They said this: oh, apparently when you do things last minute, sometimes you don't get it done. This one's on us, guys. Which, Trey, Matt, good cover. Right now, the government is infringing on your First Amendment rights of free speech. That's what the amendments, the Bill of Rights, those things are. Those are there to supposed to protect us from government retribution. The government telling you, we'll come after you, we'll pull your license. This is what the FCC chairman said. He said, we're looking at pulling Disney's license if Jimmy Kimmel makes jokes. Which it wasn't even like a crazy joke. He played a clip of Trump. Well, I'll play that for you. Crystal, you can go to a different chat, because this isn't about whether you qualify it or as comedy. This is much heavier than that. And if you're going to show off your ignorance and you're going to go, well, that wasn't comedy, that was propaganda. If anything's propaganda, guys, it's the stuff Charlie Kirk says, the stuff Donald Trump and all his people are saying. They're telling you they believe in free speech, but anything that they don't like, they're going after. They canceled him. They canceled Jimmy Kimmel. It doesn't matter if you think he's funny. Like if this was Jimmy Fallon, right? These are two different people. I do not like Jimmy Fallon, but I'd still be advocating for him to not be canceled because of a joke he made. You know, that is the opposite of an American value. So if you don't have an American value and you're like, you know, let's see, what are people saying? Yep. Kimmel's ratings, ratings is with one T, Fabio. Ratings have been terrible. That wasn't comedy. If you're going to make those comments, go somewhere else, because you're just pushing anti-American propaganda. Because free speech isn't about like, hey, your comedies have got to be good. Because if that was the case, Spotify would have canceled Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's comedy is not good. Not good at all. In fact, Joe Rogan was caught stealing jokes from Brendan Schwab. I think that's his last name. So if you're going to judge it on like, you know, what comedy is funny, what comedy is good, that's not how it works at all. And I understand there's a lot of people. This is how propagandized Americans have become. Republicans have fed them that it's team sports. We need to own the libs. You got to do anything you can. Ben Shapiro has been on camera when he said, you know, this isn't about debate. This is about winning. It's not about discussion. That's what you call a bad faith discussion. When they're not out to learn anything, advance anything, you know, have a dialogue, but they're just out to win and own you and clip you and put you on social media to look like they dunked on you. They're just doing it to grift you, to get money, clicks, views, and likes. That's it. But if it was about ratings, Joe Rogan's ratings have slipped. If this was about whether you're funny or not, or whether you stole a joke, then I would have to say, like, Ben Shapiro totally should have been canceled. Didn't he write a comedy that never got picked up? You know, but it's not about that. This is about your government threatening a company because they didn't like what was said. Nothing said was illegal. Nothing said was whether you think it's funny or not. Nothing said was un-American. In fact, the most American thing you can do is criticize the government. That's the most American thing. That's why the whole free speech thing exists. Schizo says, Joe Rogan, own his show, dummy. Schizo, I would work on that sentence structure, but I'm sure your teacher has probably told you that if you're still in school. He is owned by Spotify now. But that's cute that you haven't been paying attention. I think that's adorable. I want to go like this to you. Tickle, tickle, tickle. You wish you could see what it says behind your head. Well, you'll never be able to. That's why I put it up. Go ahead and read it. This was South Park, no episode tonight. And I'm sure there will be people in the chat that go, don't worry, South Park wasn't funny anyways. As soon as they start, well, they won't say this part. This is what they mean. As soon as they started criticizing the people that I like, all of a sudden it really went downhill. That's what you see with like Ben Shapiro, all these right-wing grifters. They're real big fans. Remember when Ben Shapiro said, Bill Burr used to be funny, and then he went woke. So, what are you talking about? Oh, you like everything till it goes woke? That sounds like cancel culture. It sounds like you're not judging it on anything being said, but you're just upset that it hurt your feelings. And South Park tonight, no new episode. I'm very sorry, but the state of affairs in America is so that the government is threatening companies if they don't like what is being said. But this was plainly broadcast all last week. All last week. From the moment it happened and Donald Trump went on the air and announced to everybody that he would attack his political enemies, his political rivals, at any cost. Now we're seeing the full repercussions of this fascist state taking form, and I hope, whether you consider yourself red or blue, I consider myself neither. I'm for the people, but I would really hope, and it seems like a lot of the red and blue heads get propagandized very easily, like it's about a team and not about, you know, the welfare of the people in the country. But I would just hope, and especially because the right wing propaganda is so gnarly, you know. I just want you to think about it on its face. They champion themselves as free speechers, but as soon as something's said or they don't mourn someone the correct way, they want to attack you, make you lose your job, cancel you. If people are held to account, which they're usually not on the right, J6ers pardoned, Donald Trump's never been held to account, released the Epstein files. But if anything happens, like Roseanne loses her show, it's cancel culture. And my God, you know, everyone's canceled and they're up in arms. So they hate it when it's done to them, but they're fine doing it to anybody else. It's surreal as somebody who worked in radio for 20 years. And, you know, the FCC is the governing body, which, if you understand what they do, they regulate radio. They regulate media. And this is not one of the things. They do not come in and say, you know what, the president really didn't like that joke. We're going to have to take you off the air. That's like not how America, this is like very Russian, I would assume, Chinese. But this is usually not how America operates. Hey, what's up, CJ? Good to see you. Could South Park possibly make an episode more outrageous than reality? Well, I hope because they're taking an extra week to make an episode. I hope they don't capitulate to the government. That's what's happening right now. I like Oliver too. I like Kimmel, but again, it's really weird that people are like, I don't like them. I'm glad this happened. You know, just kind of ignoring like the First Amendment, the government interference in the free market. That's all this was, folks. This is the FCC head going on a podcast to threaten ABC if they didn't do something because Jimmy Kimmel hurt their feelings. Let's listen to what Jimmy Kimmel said because he didn't even say anything crazy. That's the wildest part about this. The wildest part was like, this wasn't really like a big joke. In fact, he played a clip of Trump and then repeated what the Utah governor had already said. I mean, you should be more concerned about the Utah governor saying, I was praying it wasn't one of us and it was an immigrant. That's like what the Utah governor, that dude is demented. That those are the leader's words, you know? And the people are just propagandized. And remember, on the heels of South Park not airing a new episode tonight because of the state of affairs in America, Emily Love, Joe Rogan is state. He is state propaganda too. He is Donald Trump's friend. He's had the CIA guys in, the FBI guys in, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, the bankers. He is not anyone's line of defense. Joe Rogan is compromised. I hate to be the one to break this to you, but it's a slow descent into being compromised. You know, it didn't happen overnight. He got that $100 million from Spotify. He became strictly a Spotify platform guy, which, if you don't know, Spotify is majorly funded by Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel owns, I think, 30% of the shares. Peter Thiel owns Palantir. And then all of a sudden, there was a great clip on YouTube of all the people who are friends with Peter Thiel, that billionaire who doesn't believe in democracy, who has the Palantir company that has infiltrated a government and ready to start its own Skynet and monitor you at every turn. All of a sudden, all of Joe Rogan's guests talk about having dinner with Peter Thiel and their friend Peter Thiel, and a wise story once told to me by Peter Thiel, a close friend of mine. So I would pay attention. I'd pay attention. And if you don't care, that's fine. You know, if you're like, hey, my name's Patricia, I go by Patty, and I don't care if America's becoming fascist, as long as it's the fascism I like. If that's your thought, I fear for us, you know, because Like Fred Hampton once said, if we don't stop fascism, fascism going to stop it all, stop us all. And here's the thing, Patty, old Patricia, I know they're going after the people you don't like right now, but once all those people are gone, there's a famous poem about it. You should look it up. They're going to come after you. You're not one of them. You should listen to George Carlin. He said it's a big club and you ain't in it. I know Patricia thinks she's in the club, but she ain't. Here, let's listen to Jimmy Kimmel's joke that got him canceled.
Chinese government harvesting our thoughts, interests, and personal information. Trump's buddy will have them instead. At least it's somebody we can trust, though, right? We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism.
Which, by the way, flew the flags at half-staff. But there was somebody, well, I guess at the White House there wasn't a holdout. But there was a dude who held out, which, good for him. I will not grant Johnson County's honors to a man who made it his life's mission to denigrate so many of the constituents I have sworn an oath to protect, and who did so much harm not only to the marginalized, but also to degrade the fabric of our political body politic. Joshua County Supervisor John Green refused Iowa governor's Kim Reynolds' order to lower flags. So, good on him. Good on him. By the way, did you guys see this? Donald Trump golfing in 2005, pregnant with his son Barron. I don't know if you guys saw that photo. I know comedy's illegal, but I'm going to still give it a shot. So there he is. Look at that. Oh, there's Barron. Look, he's pregnant. Oh, I bet Mama was tired after that golfing round. All right, so this was the story earlier today. FCC chair threatens ABC over Jimmy Kimmel's remarks. And then just a few minutes ago, we found out Jimmy Kimmel canceled because he hurt the government's feelings. That's why. That's it. Didn't do anything illegal. As somebody who worked under FCC regulation for 20 years, what he's about to finish, this joke, was nothing you can get pulled off the air for. Unless the government says, oh, if you don't act how we want you to, we're going to come after you. They're crushing dissent here in America. This is more Russian than anything. But, you know, when you got a Russian puppet for president, what can you do?
But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks. They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction.
That's a pretty good joke.
Demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay? And it didn't just happen once.
When I heard it, I was in the midst of, building a great, for 150 years, they've wanted a ballroom at...
This dude won't shut up about his ballroom. Look, guys, I got a mogwai. Have you ever seen a real-life mogwai? Hi, little mogwai. There's 3 rules. You can't feed them after midnight. You can't get them wet. And no direct sunlight, so... Yeah, okay. I know, there's some fascists in the chat. You don't like fascists. We don't like fascists. We don't like fascists. So all you fascists in the chat, I'm just going to ignore you. Here we go. Come back tomorrow. Come back tomorrow. I know, it just shows, and again, when people like Chris say, who watches Kimmel anyways? It's not about that. A lot of people do. Just like a lot of people watched Steve Colbert. And Steve Colbert got canceled as well because he was a critic of Trump. Do you understand what happens when you can't criticize the government here in America? At some point, I know you think, you've been trained to think like, I'll just go along with anything. But at some point you might disagree. Why? Because you'll become the object of their obsession. And it's going to be a sad day for you if that's how far you have to go to wake up. I pray not. I pray you can see what's going on and be decent enough as a human to be like, I don't watch Kimmel, but I didn't think his joke was funny, but I didn't like his ratings, but it's very anti-American to be saying I don't think he should be on the air, and I think the government should enforce that. I want you to understand this. I want you to understand. Trying to get you to understand. Nick Lloyd says hello. Hello, Isaac. The leopards are always hungry. Isaac, appreciate that comment. I used to use a thumbnail that said leopards eating faces party. That's what the Republican Party should be called now. The leopards ate my face party. And Lynette says criticizing Charlie death is not cool. This isn't about being cool or not, guys. Again, I highly encourage you to get your feelings out of this. I hate that bullies are sometimes, they play the victim so well. Because criticizing George Floyd's death was not cool. Trayvon Martin's death was not cool. I think back to Fred Hampton with the Chicago swine and what they did to him. You're right. But here's the thing. America isn't about, hey, man, that wasn't cool. Now it's illegal. Do you understand? Do you understand, Lynette? I pray to God you understand what I'm saying, Lynette. Because the Bill of Rights, those first 10 amendments, weren't like, you get free speech as long as everyone's deeming it's cool, man. As long as the vibes are on. But if George Washington said, hey, you guys better mourn my buddy, whatever his buddy's name was. Who is George kicking it with? I don't know who passed before George Washington. But if he was like, hey, if you guys don't mourn, my bud Steve Harwell or who died after Washington, before Washington? I'm not sure. I'm not that good at history when it comes to the Washington friends, the inner circle of Washington. But could you imagine if Washington was like, hey, if Americans aren't mourning, one of these random Adams cousins correctly, we're going to come after you. What do you think about that, Lynette? Because again, I don't know how many times it's sad to me that Thomas here's you're going to hear this, and this is why I want to address this. Thomas says you have free speech, but companies also have the right to not have you work for them. Isn't America great, Thomas? But that's not what happened. Isn't that great? That this wasn't ABC saying, hey, we didn't agree with what Kimmel said, so we're going to put him on a timeout. Again, I'll go over this. I'll go over the timeline of today. This was the FCC, who has no right. This is a government organization. Brendan Carr, who's appointed by Trump, who's a Trump guy, who's a Heritage Foundation alt-right think tank guy, who is a Project 2025 guy. Him going on a podcast and threatening ABC. And like what you're seeing right now with colleges and companies, when they get threatened by the government, they're obeying. They're being obedient. They're going, oh, okay, we give. They're putting up no fight because, again, corporations and politicians are kind of as one right now. They work, the government's basically, corporation's best friend. So I'm glad you said that because we got to point this out, that this isn't, free speech doesn't protect you from your boss saying you can't say that. That's not what happened. This is not what happened. The FCC, the government, threatened that, said, you're not mourning him correctly. We don't like jokes anymore. I know you're a little satirical show, but you can't do jokes. And we're going to look into pulling your license, which they can't do, and there would be no basis. If ABC wasn't such asshats, and they just said, go ahead. But nobody's doing that. Columbia, the Paramount deal, because they all have these big mergers because everything's monopolies now. So they all want to be in Trump's good graces. So instead, you have the government, and again, maybe Thomas is a dum-dum. I don't know. Some people say that. A lot of people are saying Thomas is a dum-dum. Thomas, I'm trying to defend you from all these people that keep saying that Thomas, boy, is he a dum-dum. And I'm saying, hey, maybe he thought comedy was illegal. Maybe he thought here in America, if you say the wrong comedy, you lose your job. But the way the First Amendment works, I don't know. If you're one of those people that talks about liking free speech, you should know this. The way the First Amendment works is it protects you from the government infringing on your speech. That's how it works. The government can't threaten you, can't threaten a company. It's like the basis of it. The government can't come in and say, we don't like what you're saying, so maybe we'll pull your license and your whole station will go off the air. Your whole company will collapse. That's what the First Amendment is, folks. This is a good lesson for some of you, because some of you like to, pretend like free speech is, only when things I like are said. Fucking dummies. I don't know how to pronounce this name. Vu127. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. I appreciate you. Solidarity in these trying times. They're very fashy. Says, keep doing what you're doing. Much respect. People need to open their eyes and ears. Thank you again. I really like that comment. Because Vu127, I'll tell you what, we get there these trolls, these bots, these people that like to say, isn't free speech great? If a company doesn't like what you say, they can fire you. Okay. Are you paying attention to what's going on, folks? Because if you're telling yourself that's what happened, there's a lot of people saying that you're a dum-dum, that you wear your ass for a hat. That's what they say. They are saying it, not me. They're saying that. They're saying he is an ass hat. And I'm saying, hey. Let's calm down a little bit. Thomas maybe just needs to be educated. And that the First Amendment doesn't allow the government to threaten you because they don't like what you said. Which, by the way, if you guys are paying attention last week, a lot of Republicans came out and said, if you don't mourn correctly, we're going to come after you. Which is when all the free speech people should have been like, hey, man, we got this thing called the First Amendment, and you can't do that. The government can't tell us what the fuck to say. Okay? Now, if Jimmy Kimmel said the F word, then the FCC chair can come in and go, hey, that's, safe harbor or not, you can't be saying that language. Bleep it, but this is just not how it works. Key JX. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Why they think Charlie Kirk is a Nazi? An ultra-nationalist political party dude. Nah, what the F? He's a political activist that done right, and he's not wrong. He never did anything wrong. Well, Key, I would wholeheartedly disagree. People think he's a Nazi because, he was racist. He said a lot of racist things. We talked about this yesterday briefly, that when, just so you know, because a lot of people maybe are confused. A lot of people are saying these people are dumb, that they're dum-dums. And I'm going, let's teach them. Let's take a moment to teach them. Stop calling them asshats, okay? When Charlie Kirk had a very famous clip of him saying, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to wonder if he's qualified. Now, to break it down, because this is why the regime attacked DEI, attacked critical race theory, attacked colleges, and attacked schools, attacked public education funding, attacked public media. The reason they did that is because now you don't understand that if Charlie Kirk says, I see someone's skin color and I think they're not qualified, that's as plain as day racism, okay? Now, he said a lot more than just that, but that's one thing that you can say, he never did anything wrong. That's key JX. Own your words. You say that was not wrong. Now, I would wholeheartedly disagree. I think America's come a long way. Martin Luther King. The other thing Charlie Kirk said, the Civil Rights Act was awful. The Civil Rights Act that allowed black people to vote helps with desegregation and all these. Really should learn about it. This is why it's terrifying that they're really not teaching these things in schools. So you can think that, and here's the thing. well, America's going a certain way. So I would say, like, we can still have this debate on whether or not racism is bad. I can't believe that's what the fuck we're talking about. Key JX, I really want you to understand that. Like, what you're talking about is like, hey, Charlie Kirk can say, I see the color of someone's skin and think they're unqualified solely based on the color of their skin. And you can say he never did anything wrong. And I can think, wow, a lot of people fucking hate you because of that's how you think. Because there's probably a lot of people thinking, oh, that white guy's got to be an ultra nationalist asshole. When they wouldn't be wrong with you. Man, I'm missing a lot of the comments. Oh, I love when the Timothys, I call them little Timothys, go pulling things out of context. There's no context needed for that. Okay. This is the other trick, the right. The bully victims. They're bullies and victims. You notice how they want to bully everyone? They want to bully everyone. But then as soon as they hear things they don't like, they go, oh, you better mourn correctly. Shut the fuck up. But I like that little Timmy to pull things out of context. You don't need any more context. You can't go on after you say the Civil Rights Act was awful. There's no more context. Like, that's all the context you need. That's saying that he was racist. We could just play audio of him and his own words, and people will continue to say, that's out of context, man. That is totally out of context.
I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights.
So now I need the people who are thinking that they're very offended by this, they're very upset, and they need to attack everything besides, the actual dialogue that is being had. I need you to understand that if you're one of those people that's thinking like that, you might be wrong, and that's okay. It's okay to be wrong. I know Donald Trump has taught people and normalized people to never be wrong in their life. According to him, he's never been wrong, never done anything wrong. Everything he does is the best in history. There's been no better. You see his meetings. This is normalizing people to self-aggrandize. And it's scary because then you get people in their day-to-day life thinking, I can't be wrong. It's got to be them taking it out of context, or the joke was bad, or the ratings, or the First Amendment only works the way I want it to work, not how it is meant to work. And the thing is you could be wrong. And it's not too late yet to come to a realization that, you're being put on. They're grifting you. You're being played, as we used to say in the 90s. And then you guys can cry and say, oh, it's out of context, it's out of context. But that's actually the end of the clip. Before that, he was saying more worse stuff. And you're going to do this until you're blue in the face. But here's the thing. You can tell a lot about it is when you play go and take some of Martin Luther King Jr.'s clip. Go and take I love to play Fred Hampton clips. There aren't many Fred Hampton clips where I'm going, God, this was out of context. You don't do that. It's very telling that nobody's putting his quotes on t-shirts. Nobody's putting his quotes next to his head. I mean, this is a guy who just spent his life talking. That's it. That's it. He was a propagandist, the podcast minister of propaganda, and nobody's putting anything he said in his memorials. And that's the thing about the people who rally movements is usually they have quotes. Usually they have stuff that goes along with them, and nobody's doing that. And then when you play it back, all they're doing is getting very upset. But again, that's not the news right now. The news is the FCC threatening. The FCC, a government organization with this asshat. A lot of people calling him an asshat. And I would say his head looks like, I would say a pencil D. Pencil D? Yeah, that would be a good one. Oh, I forgot, guys. By the way, I'm Rob. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I always bring you on, where is it? I got to show you where I'm bringing you, okay? Because a lot of people get caught up. A lot of people get caught up in the hype. They think they got to own the libs. That's, it's sad when you see these clips of these podcast bros just trying to own people and not trying to make America better, make America safer, make America healthier, not trying to do anything for the people, not trying to get people paid better, guaranteed parental leave. If you're talking about parents in the home, why aren't you fighting for, 1, 2, I say 5 years of 60% pay from your company, from the company you work for, so you can stay at home and raise your kid. They're not talking about that. They're not talking about policies. Why? Because they're funded by billionaires who want to keep the status quo. So right now, I wanted to tell you that this is my vision quest. I say, F a dream job. Just dream, folks. Just dream. What do you want to do? Sing a song and dance? Go for it. You know, no judgments here. For those of you who love the grind culture and say, get a real job, loser, what are you, unemployed, living in your mom's face, all those things, this isn't for you. We're here to imagine a better tomorrow. A tomorrow where when people say, where was the father? They go, well, he had 5 years paid parental leave and he was at home raising his kids. And you could tell. We're here to advocate for stuff like that. And it's really important. And we're here to say, this is creepy. This is very creepy. A lot of people are saying, this is creepy. So we're pushing for stuff like this, you know? Overturn Citizens United, codify women's right to choose, limit SCOTUS, no more electoral college, outlaw that illegal gerrymandering, ranked choice, voting fairness, universal health care, free Luigi, increase the minimum wage, but $20 an hour. I say $66 an hour. Tax mega churches, tax unrealized gains, tax billionaires out of existence. Once you hit $999,999,999.99, you're taxed at 100%. No more billionaires, no trillionaires. Cap CEO pay to 35 times the lowest paid full-time employee, because right now they're making 6,000 times what you make. Cap congressional salary to 1.5 times the median income. And I would even add that, you know what? If they're going to give themselves a raise, your district gets a raise too. Right? And ban stock trading. I am Rob, and these are my deep fake glasses. I found them in the parking lot of an Outback. I put them on, and what do you know? I could identify any kind of deep fake or AI. Amazing glasses. Palantir wants their hands on them, and I refuse to give them up. I hold on to these for dear life because sometimes in the comments, in the chat, I can identify. Boom, deep fake. Saw ya. Saw ya. I saw ya. Yep. Boom. Lynette, not a real person. Deep fake. Appreciate you, though. It's amazing all these tough skibbity alphas and how sensitive they get when I talk about making America better. They're like, no, we need status quo. We need free speech for me, but not for thee. We need anybody who disagrees with how I feel to feel the wrath of the government. Yeah, this isn't for you then. This is not the live stream for you. Damn Yankee. You're going to be on timeout for 24 hours. I don't like your mouth. You kiss your stepsister with that mouth, you weirdo? Huh? Need to share those glasses with MAGA. Oh, DJ, you know what? One day I'll go into production of these deepfake goggles. But until then, dog booyah. No, I disagree. Freedom of speech is important regardless. That's good to hear. It's really good to hear. We need to keep talking, folks. Well, the thing... Whoa. Let's check on the news. Let's check on the news.
What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal?
I'll tell you what. After Citizens United...
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest.
True. Okay. I wanted to... Hold on, I gotta pause this. I wanted to play this for you, because this was also in the news. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Did it really? Hold on, it disappeared. I'm so mad. I wanted to play this Cash Money Patel exchange, and it disappeared on me. My apologies. What is this? Hold on, CNN.
Times a Nazi. 3,000 times. Come on, he's not a Nazi. You may call him a lot of things, you know, braggadocious, you may call him a lot of things, but he's not a Nazi.
Is that incitement?
You know what? I think that's flaming what you're doing is you are causing a rift where there isn't one there and falsely accusing someone of being a Nazi.
Incitement has legal...
And to a degree. And Congressman, his own vice...
It's funny to listen to these talking heads when they want to hold comedians and people who are not in a political profession to a degree that they don't hold the president to. You know, the president has done some insightful language. Where is the Cash Patel thing? It was so interesting. Hold on. I'm gonna have to search for it. This is so stupid. I have it. Hold on. What did it say? That's not it. What the? Oh my God, I can't believe I lost this. I'm so sorry. God, it was so good too. It was so good. Fuck. Oh well. Cash has an IDF handler. Yeah. Well, I mean, a podcaster. Oh, what was the meme? Or not the meme. By the way, this is what we stand for. You know, nurses are paying 22% tax rate. He pays a true rate of 1% if he pays it all. And Netflix paying a 1.1% on $5.3 billion in profits. That's the problem, folks. Okay? That is the problem. You need to understand that. And you need to understand it sooner than later because we're losing our freedoms every day.
And the enemy is the oligarchy.
Random! Not random. Hold on. Where is... Oh. Is this it? Oh, yeah. I thought this was funny. Breaking. The FBI, run by two podcasters, and is actively investigating the murder of a third podcaster, while the vice president cosplays as a fourth podcaster to host the show run by the third podcaster. The USA, brought to you by Squarespace, BetterHelp, and ExpressVPN. It's fucking crazy. By the way, did you guys see that Howard Schultz, the founder of Starbucks, has a new yacht? It's estimated at upwards of $300 million. Meanwhile, 10,000 Starbucks workers are still being denied a union contract. Look at that. Look at that. But he earned it, right? But he earned it. I can't wait to hear that. But he earned it. But wholly earned it. This was an important quote out of a book. You might know him, Hunter S. Thompson. It's funny that Joe Rogan likes Hunter S. Thompson, but I don't think knows who Hunter was. He just likes the drug. He has like the drug fascination with Hunter S. Thompson. And when you're young, I get it. You know, you learn about Hunter. Maybe you ignore his books for a while and you watch Fear and Loathing in Vegas, the movie, and think that was all to the man. But there was much, much more. Now, this is from his essay or book, Kingdom of Fear. Who does vote for these honest heads? Who among us can be happy and proud of having all this innocent blood on our hands? Who are these swine, these flag-sucking half-wits who get fleeced and fooled by stupid little rich kids like George Bush? They're the same ones who wanted to have Muhammad Ali locked up for refusing to kill. They speak for all that is cruel and stupid and vicious in the American character. They are racists and hate-mongers among us. They are the Ku Klux Klan. I pissed down the throat of these Nazis. And I'm too old to worry about whether they like it or not. F them, Hunter S. Thompson. Amazing quote. And I need to share that with you. Hopefully, Joe, if you're watching, hit subscribe and notification bell. Because you should take note of some of the things Hunter said. And again, if you're just tuning in, Jimmy Kimmel pulled off the air. Not because ABC didn't like what they said. Because the FCC chairman, a government body, with this, some call him asshat, others call him Pencil D. This guy was threatening Kimmel and ABC on a podcast. I'm starting to think podcasts are becoming the undoing of America. And if you're a South Park fan, it's not like a good day for comedy. Apparently this is fine.
Now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
That's fine.
I moved on her like a bitch, but I couldn't get there.
I gotta use some Tic Tacs just in case they start kissing her.
That's fine. That's all fine. Not releasing the Epstein files, being best friends with Epstein. A lot of people fine with that. But if you're into comedy right now,
Legalize comedy.
that's what we're saying. I thought comedy was made legal. Apparently not. Apparently it's illegal again. And this time, definitely not by the Democrats. Remember that. Democrats have control of nothing. I don't even think that if they had control or could put up a fight, to be a roadblock, they would, because they're just Republican light. Again, guys, don't be blue or red. You got to be for the people. Take off the blue and red hat. Stop. Don't forget, this is a card. Oh, and I wanted, God, I got to find this. I have to find this quote. This is so incredible because it's about this card. It's about this card and somebody, I don't know who it was because I paused it and I really wanted, to play it for you because, hold on. It was basically somebody during the testimony with Cash saying if somebody forged the president's signature, hold on, let me see. Let me see if I can pull it up like this. Let me see. Okay, damn. Come on, we can get it. The people need to hear this. The people need to hear this. This is it.
The gentleman from New York is recognized, Mr. Goldman.
Okay. Rep. Dan Goldman asked Cash Patel about Trump's name in the Epstein files. Okay, how long is this? 5 minutes. Where's the part where oh, God. I'm going to have to speed it up. Wait, maybe I can find it. Dan Goldman. Maybe that's how I can find it. Why is the clip not? Okay, whatever.
Bye-bye.
Don't say that. Let's see if we can find
Mr.
it.
Go through that. You're referring to court orders.
That's a piece of it. Information that was there are protective orders.
They are.
That's just not true. We can argue about it all you want.
Okay, well, you agree that there are. So your testimony here is that the reason why you are not releasing all viewing
of the thousands of material, we will never release that.
That you have total control to release.
Yes, and if
videos relate to
years and every
sex ring that you find. I'm asking sex
pursuing
you that stuff.
That's all we got.
I'm great.
That's correct. To my knowledge, no.
Okay, let's talk about the witness interviews. Old order for a search warrant. Why aren't
how court orders work? Do you know this?
And I want to understand.
And down to protective order and a motion to.
This dude is unreal, Cash Patel. It looks like a little kid is sitting there. Like, how did a little kid get in charge of the FBI?
Statements are under a court order, a protective or effective order, on grand jury.
Time of the gentleman is expired.
You are hiding the Epstein files, Mr.
Time of the gentleman is expired.
You are.
He is hiding the Epstein files. Okay, it wasn't there. God damn, this was so good. It was just on the popular page on Reddit. I'm so sorry, guys. We're gonna find this. We're gonna find this. I don't know why it got hidden. Why did it get hidden, folks? Why did it get hidden? Let me ask you that. Huh? Why is it hidden now? Why is it hidden now? Why is it hidden now? Let me ask you. What about this is so crazy that it's really disappeared. Like, it's bugging me. Because this exchange where the guy's like, if this dude, Cash, if you're saying the president said, basically what he's saying is like, the president said this was not his signature, right? That's what the president said. He's like, that's not mine. Not. So if that's true, Cash, then why aren't you investigating who forged? He's like, it's a forgery case. Maybe that's how I can find it. FBI director open to investigating Trump's claim on forged signatures. This is the article. Will you be opening? Oh, so maybe it was that. Maybe it was. Sure looks like Cash lied under oath. That's what the articles are saying. Here it is. Law. It's in the law. Okay. Thank you. And it wasn't Dan Harmon. Who is it? Rep Moskowitz. Moskowitz?
Colleagues say it's not his administration.
This is it. This is the clip. Are you ready? For those of you guys who stayed and hung out, I appreciate you. You're killing me, Smalls. Just play the long version. Oh, okay. Here it is. This is in Reddit r/law. Rep Moskowitz. Sorry, I see Moskowitz. I think Moskowitz, a Mouseketeer, asked FBI Director Patel if he would open an investigation into the Epstein estate for releasing a fake document with the president's signature. Right? Again, so you understand the premise. Donald Trump denies this is him. So that this would be huge, right? If somebody waited 30 years for a forgery document to, I don't even try to think this out, but here's the exchange when Kash Patel was testifying.
The president you've seen the picture of the woman's body with the writing and the president's signature. The president says that's not his. Okay? President says it's not his. The Republican colleagues say it's not his. The administration say it's not his. Will you be opening up an investigation into the Epstein estate for putting out a fake document with the president's signature linking him to the world's largest pedophile ring? Will you be opening that investigation into that?
On what basis?
What basis? They literally...
He goes there. We have to save that clip. I'm sorry. Hold on.
Investigation into that.
Hold on. We have to save that clip. That's the FBI director being dumb, right? Is that what that is? This has got to be him being dumb. Interesting. Interesting take.
Investigation into that.
On what basis?
That's the guy who leads the FBI.
On what basis?
Holy, I'm so happy we have this clip.
On what basis?
When people say nothing. This is a big nothing burger. Okay, Jeb. Defending the PDF files. All right.
On what basis? They literally put out a fake document, according to the president, with a fake signature. It's a forgery of the president of the United States signature. That's the basis.
Sure, I'll do it.
Okay.
Guys, this is why I say we joke about the news, because the news is a joke, because that's the FBI director with a representative being like, this is a forgery of the president. This is what you guys are saying. You're not going to look into this and catch the guy who did this? And he's like, yeah, I could totally do that. Maybe, I don't know. I'm kind of, I've been a little bit, I'll put him to do, email me. Yeah. Send a Zoom link and I'll do it. I'll do it later. Where's Dan Vagina right now? He looks like he needs a buddy, Mr. Patel.
I look forward to that investigation. Am I over? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Am I over?
Of the president of the United States signature. That's the basis.
Sure, I'll do it.
Sure, I'll do it.
On what basis?
On what basis? So I'm going to say to all the people in the comments, this is a big nothing burger. Oh, yeah?
On what basis?
On what basis is that a nothing burger? Epstein's best friend. Oh, my God, so funny. Looks like a 5-year-old truth head. Wow. Donald's not known for his artistic creativity, but he definitely does have a style. I would call it new wave perv. I would call it. It's perv doodle. Doodle perv. I don't know what you'd call it, but not fooled. Let me just tell you, that handle signifies that you might have been fooled before. And now you're like, God damn it, they won't get me again. Handle, not fooled. Good to have you here. Guardian 2020 article. It was buried. The Epstein connection. Yeah. All right. So, have you even said thank you? Have you? Have you even said thank you? Looks like she was saying thank you. That there will be no South Park this week. Have you even said thank you? The guys, Matt and Trey, released a little comment. Said, this one's on us, guys. You know, I can't blame them for playing safe right now. You really can't blame Trey and Matt for saying
Bye-bye.
you can't.
I didn't ask you a question.
Well, on what basis?
On what basis?
On what basis didn't you ask me a question? So, we're playing the old J.D. Vance, have you even said thank you? No South Park tonight, folks. No South Park tonight. I would say it's the temperature. They're reading the room. The culture of America right now is that the FCC chairman is doing podcasts to threaten companies to revoke their air licenses for jokes they don't like. And these corporations are being obedient. They are capitulating. Let's check in with Hassan. Where is he at? Let's see where he's at. Whoops.
Anywhere from easy company during World War II all the way down to people protesting a racist.
Ooh, what is this? From September 17th, 2025, 5:26 p.m., Hassan's reading a tweet from the president. Or a lie. Is that what you call him on Truth Social? A lie? Donald Trump says, I am pleased to inform our many USA patriots that I am designating Antifa, a sick, dangerous, radical left disaster, as a major terrorist organization. I will also be strongly recommending that those funding Antifa, anti-fascists, be thoroughly investigated in accordance with the highest legal standards of practice. Thank you for attention to this matter. Where's the meme? I gotta pull out the meme. Folks. I didn't want to do it, but the president's making me. I gotta pull out the meme. Here it is. The government doesn't announce that they become fascists. They announce anti-fascists are the enemy. I can't believe this is real life. America, it was a good experiment while it lasted. Then you guys voted for a PDF file best friend grifter who's protecting all the files. I keep saying, release the files with an F, not a PH. And they're not listening. And a guy who is vengeful on his enemies, political, people who joke about him, Rosie O'Donnell, anyone. He just wants to be a bully. And then when he's not a bully and he doesn't like things said, he's a victim. Let's check in with Hassan. Love Hassan. You should check him out. He's on Twitch.
With its fascist policies.
Oh, he's tweeting. I love streaming, checking out another streamer.
I guess we're all going to the fucking concentration camps now. Yeah,
I hate hearing Hassan so devastated, but really the state of America is a sad, sad, sad state of affairs. Because again, be careful, folks, because Antifa, hold on, let me see if I can block. Antifa means anti-fascists. Now, if you have a grandparent, or maybe some of you a great-grandparent, fought in World War II, they were Antifas. They were anti-fascists. So this, again, just like sometimes in the comments, when people make comments, sometimes it says a lot more about them than what they're trying to say about whatever we're talking about. And really, this is one of those times where if the president of the free world is going after Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, South Park, that was the other part of the article I want to play out for you. and now saying, if you're anti-fascist, we are coming after you. What does that say? Well, who would go after anti-fascists? I know I got to break this down like it's a third grade math problem, but there are some folks that really don't understand this. Well, I would say the fascists don't like anti-fascists. And here, I'll just read the definition because there are some dummies. Key characteristics of fascism. A fascist, a dictatorial leader. Fascists subscribe to a leadership principle, following a single charismatic dictator who often builds a cult of personality. Ooh, somebody's tweeting, comedy is illegal now. Yeah. Where's Elon Musk?
Legalize comedy.
I thought he wanted to legalize comedy. Extreme nationalism. They prioritize the nation above all, promoting a sense of national decline or victimhood that requires a rebirth through purging. German Nazism is an extreme variant of this, centered on a racial purity and the belief in a master race. Militarism and violence. Fascists glorify violence, warfare, and conquest as means of national rejuvenation and expansion. They often employ paramilitary groups to suppress political opposition. Is any of this sounding familiar, folks? Suppression of opposition. Tonight's news. They forcibly crush out opposition and curtail civil liberties. Free speech, no more. Doesn't matter what you think about free speech. If you believe that that was a value of America and that the government can't impede your speech because they don't like a joke, they don't like your ratings, who's watching it, all the things the trolls say, it doesn't matter. Because the reason America was America, that Australia, that Canada, that people look to America is because we had certain values like free speech where you could dissent against the government and you were supposed to be protected. That is gone, folks. So fascist states are one-party systems that dismantle democratic institutions. And I would say we really have a one-party system right now. We have Republicans and Republican lights, diet Republicans, because the Democrats are doing nothing to stand in the way, to stop this. There are a few.
Bye-bye. I didn't ask you a question.
Well, and I will shut up. Economic regimentation. Fascist economies are heavily regulated and state-directed. What does that sound like? Tariffs? Does it sound like asking the government for an what's it called? An exclusion on the tariffs? Cult of tradition and radicalism. Fascism often combines radical revolutionary change with an appeal to traditional values and myths of past glory. So yeah, just so you know, just so we could go over what fascism is. I also want to play a little clip for you. Brian. Oh no, this didn't start with Trump. Trump just amplified the voices of bigots and ultra-right. That's true. It definitely didn't start with Trump. It was even before Reagan. Reagan enhanced the corporations. He legalized stock buybacks. The trick pulled down economics. But Trump really emboldened people. I mean, we have a guy who said this about a disabled reporter.
Now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
And then Billy Bush went.
Oh, my man.
I moved on her like a bitch, but I couldn't get there.
He couldn't even get there. That's Donald Trump talking about a woman that he hasn't met yet and how he's going to move on her like a bitch. That's a weird way to put it. If you and your friends talk like that in your inner circle, I would laugh at that person. And then if he becomes president, he'll put you in jail. But I would say Brian Trump, not amplified, but emboldened. When you see the discourse right now on CNN, MSNBC, Fox, well, Fox won't. Fox will be cheering this on. Jesse Waters last week was calling for war. Anybody who's calling for a civil war, be very, very suspect of them. When they're saying other Americans are your enemy, like, really, I want you to step back, take a deep breath, and think about what they're saying. Your neighbors, And who wins off of that? I would say the wealthy people in this nation that want to keep you divided, keep you distracted. But he emboldened them. Because when you say, oh, the word bullshit is presidential language, you know, when the president is talking horrible about everybody who's not on his team, as he said before, when he asked about Shane Gillis in this clip I heard, he said, is he on our team? Okay, then I like him. And just remember, his team flip-flops. Look at people who worked for him in the past. He's removed security detail from them. He doesn't give a rip about anybody. He worships the golden calf of money, and that's it. Not even his family. Look at Eric, you know. Doesn't matter if Kimmel's been funny or not, and I'll keep saying this, because the First Amendment isn't to protect you from people who aren't funny. If they aren't funny, they don't get free speech. The First Amendment protects you from the government, what happened today. Remember this, folks, this is important. If they announce anti-fascists are enemy of the state, they are fascists. But what happened today was the FCC chair went on a podcast and threatened NBC to take their license, their government license. And then Jimmy Kimmel got canceled. That's where free speech comes in. It's supposed to say, well, the government can't threaten companies and shows. But they already did with Colbert. Right now, they're testing the waters. Well, they're not testing waters. Now they're just going through with their fascist rule. But it's not about who's funny or not. Again, because that's like the easiest cope to go to. Well, he wasn't funny anyways. No, you should be very scared because these are your rights. I know people usually think, well, it's not me. So it's very American to think, well, it hasn't affected me. But here's the thing. If somebody loses that right in America, guess what? It's not a right in America. It was a privilege, and the government took it away. George Carlin, check him out. What was this? Oh, I wanted to show you this tweet, because this is, I don't know, she's close to Trump. And, well, and he's done it. I mean, Donald Trump, the tweet that I didn't get a screenshot of, but that Hassan's talking about, let's check in with Hassan. I don't like when he's solemn.
Kirk's death, and if you are, maybe you should lose your job or your university should face a loss of funding. If you, and I...
That's so crazy that the vice president is saying, if you don't mourn how we want you to mourn, if you don't do what we say, then you should lose your job, lose your funding, like, I want you to think about that. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat, or if you're a leftist, or if you're a far rightist, this is what you're calling for. If you're a fascist, then you're like, yeah, this is my ideology. But I want you to think about that. Everybody else, that's not, the wealthy the wealthy and the powerful aren't going to get in trouble. I hate to break it to you. The wealthy and the powerful will watch all of us fight it out. And what I'm trying to do is say, stop, people. There's more of us than there are them. If we collectively say, we're not tolerating this anymore, like there's free speech, whether I like you or not, or whether I think you're funny or not, free speech says the government can't. What J.D. Vance just said is like, that's, somebody should have said, well, what about, the First Amendment, where it says like the government should say to people, if you don't mourn somebody the way we tell you to, then you're going to lose your job. Because that was like the whole thing, people were like, oh, communism, Russia, China. And like, they're doing the thing right now, they're doing it right now. That's what J.D. Vance just said. If you don't act how the government wants you to act, you should lose your job, lose your funding, lose everything. We're going to come after you. I don't know who's for that, because guess what? You're not one of them. You're not. Dog booyah. I would say don't engage, because there are people that are just, they hate the world. Remember, dog booyah. I want to teach you something. Yeah, the people that are advocating, and like John Ford, it's hate speech, dude. It's not. I played the clip of Jimmy Kimmel. It wasn't hate speech. He made fun of the president. It's not hate speech. Hate speech, well, you should look that up. This is like a whole different thing. But just so you know, it's not. It's free speech, and it's not poor reflecting on anyone. This is why we got to quash this nonsense at its root. Because when people go, oh, it's hate speech, dude, and the company doesn't want it poorly reflecting on them. No, that's a lot of people are saying you're dumb for saying stuff like that. And I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to educate you. It's not. The FCC, a government organization, a Heritage Foundation guy, a Project 2025 guy, went on a podcast and threatened ABC. If you don't know, ABC has a license to broadcast through the government. They have to renew it. It's just like when I was in radio, you know? So there's safe harbor hours where you could say more risque stuff. And if you think any of this, if you truly just don't believe me and you think any of this is hate speech, I want you to go watch Fox News for a little bit, you know, and just see some of the stuff they're saying. If you think this joke was hate speech, I mean, really, I want you to go maybe back and watch Charlie Kirk, Alex Jones, like go check these people out and see what they're saying, you know, not about people that you're scared of, but just in general. Just remove yourself. Say, I'm going to pretend I'm not biased, I'm not bigoted, I'm not racist, I'm not whatever, and just listen to what they're saying. And that should give you a gauge of how tempered Jimmy Kimmel is on late night TV. Again, I can't believe people are like excusing this, because that's what it is. They're trying to excuse the rights in America, the privileges we have in America being eroded. Because once they're gone for one person, they're gone for you too. Do you think it just doesn't apply for you because you think like you're a middle-aged white guy who, you know, won't have to tolerate with this? You should go ask the Arkansas soy boy farmers, the guys that farm soy, and how the tariffs and that China's not buying any of their soy, and they were crying on camera saying, Donald Trump, you said you loved us. We need to see the fruits of your love. I played the video last week. You just should ask them if they thought it wouldn't happen to them. You should really, really go to Arkansas, find the soy boy farmers. I think that's what they're called. I'm not sure, but they farm soy, so why wouldn't they be called that? And ask them if the white privilege is helping them right now. Because really, it's not left versus right. It's up versus down, bottom versus top. It's the 1%, the powerful, the one that are controlling everything, saying free speech is gone. And then you adorably think, like, oh, well, it won't happen to me. Oh, until they've gotten everybody else, and then they're coming for you. Dog booyah. This is what I was just saying. Has the company fired somebody for being a moron? That's not what happened. That's not what happened. Again, I don't know how else to explain this. The FCC threatened to not renew their license, and the FCC was obedient. They said, ooh, we'll do what you say, government. I don't know who really, like, it's not that they can't comprehend. This is the thing about bad faith. It's just that they're like, well, I don't like it. Because if this was, you know, let's say this was like we got a Democratic government. And they were like, well, Jesse Waters is clearly calling for civil war. Tim Pool has called for civil war. And they were like, we're going to, you know, ban them from broadcasting in America. You know, pretty sure a lot of people would be up in arms about a tyrannical government. And Paul loves to do the old, oh, so calling people fascists isn't calling for violence. No, it's not calling for violence. It's saying that here in America, we weren't a fascist country. We didn't have an FCC that went after companies. We didn't have government trying to say, hey, that comedian you have on late night needs to either be gone or we won't allow you to broadcast all of your whole media empire. Will revoke your license. So that's a governmental threat for somebody's free speech. So that isn't calling for violence. Again, a lot of people are calling you dumb, Paul, a lot. Like, you probably don't hear it because they're saying it out of your earshot, or maybe you don't understand. Maybe it went over your head. But the thing is like, that's a dumb comment, you know? And I'm trying to educate you. So when you go out in the wild, people aren't like, oh, God, do you hear how dumb that is? And I'm like, hey, just give him a chance, man. He needs to learn. That's it. I said I would look into it because that crosses a line if the FCC puts pressure. Well, all this news happened today, so I would look into it. That's what we are doing here. Brian, people need to listen. Listening comprehension goes a long way. Stop jumping to conclusions before you listen to a narrative. Stop putting words in people's mouths. Yeah, Brian, I really wish that like the government and all these authoritarian Republicans who, you know, jump to conclusions. It's a jump to conclusions, Matt. What was that from? would stop doing that. And I really wish that's what I was saying before. If you listen to any news or any media, this is why the lamestream media sucks. Because if they're all calling for comedians or podcasters and I don't mean the podcasters that are the government now, I mean like people who just podcast, if they're calling for them to act a certain way and in high regard, especially people who like just make jokes and just fucking, aren't serious, aren't in a position to make laws or anything. If they're calling for them to act more cordial than the president, like we have a real wrong thing happening right now. Hold on. All right, guys. I appreciate CJ, Paul, Dog Booyah, all the people that are still welcoming conversation. And hopefully a lot of people that are seeing what's happening and understanding that here in America, if one person loses their rights, you've lost them too. And we should be in solidarity, standing together. So join the community, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Much love. Thank you for the super chats. And remember, man, F a dream job. Just dream. Much love. Be kind to each other. Peace.